is Seuss, Big Brown, Auntie,
Yep.
and Little Brown.
Little Brown, yeah.
Well, I guess now that we've introduced the goats,
Yeah.
we've introduced the people. We're here today talking to Lindsay and Michael, right?
Yep.
And if you don't mind saying your last names, because I totally...
Lindsay Clownig. That's mine. I'm Lindsay Clownig.
Michael Barnes.
And it's Trouvaille Farm. I won't make you pronounce that either.
Yes, I was hoping not to have to pronounce that. Down south of Athens, Ohio, and they're going to talk to us today, I hope, about artisanal chocolate and goats and maybe rotational grazing, cover crops, anything else like that?
Yeah, cover cropping and season extension. I think,
Season
if you
extension.
Want to talk about that.
That's definitely
sure.
lots of fun. So I guess since we're with the goats, do you want to talk about the goats? I know that you were working at a dairy, is that right, in Massachusetts?
We had been. So we moved around a fair bit. I think I lived in 10 places in 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Right, so
Okay.
I actually was a cheesemaker
Uh-huh.
previously. And so I hopped around to different creameries on both coasts and in the middle and a little bit abroad. And I was making cheese for, about 15 years.
Wow.
And that's how I met Michael. And
Because he was also making cheese.
he was on the other side. He was on the farm side.
I was
So
the
he was a dairy
manager.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, and so, I worked on goat farms, sheep farms, cows. And so the goats for us maybe had originally been part of the plan when we bought this place 5 years ago to be a dairy. But when I moved here, I actually became intolerant to dairy.
Oh,
And
no.
so had to do a big old pivot and
Oh, gee.
fine, turns out, because I would not be wanting, making cheese right now. We would have, chocolate and seeds are a lot more flexible. Let's put it
That's
that
a
way
really good
than
point.
dairy every single day. Yeah. So we got the goats. Their main role on this farm has always been clearing brush.
Oh, okay.
This farm hadn't been farmed in probably 10 years, 8 years. Hadn't been
like that.
grazed. So you had burdock above your head. Everything was grown over. You couldn't see. Like right now, we can look out and see. You couldn't see.
The burdock
Right.
was 12 feet tall
Yeah.
here,
It was amazing.
everywhere.
Very fertile.
Which says, I was
Yeah,
going to say,
exactly.
very fertile.
So, so the goats were part of the clearing. I think we brought over 4 or 5 goats into Massachusetts, and then quickly got up to about 50 was the max herd we
whoa,
had.
my
And they were
goodness.
all just brush clearing.
Wow.
And so they did their job, the brush got under control, and every year we've needed fewer and fewer goats. So we're
Gotcha.
down to, how many? What are we, 6?
Something like that.
I think we're 5, no, 6, yeah. So we're down to 6, and we're just breeding 3 does this year.
So do you sell the ones you don't use? Do you eat them?
Yep.
What do you do?
We just sell the babes in the spring.
Oh, okay.
So we do kidding in January,
Uh-huh.
which is
It's almost time.
it is.
Oh my
I just
goodness.
bought a baby monitor to put in the barn to set up so we could
Aw.
listen for kids
Uh-huh.
this year. I was idle. So we kind of scale the number of goats to how much brush clearing we need. So right now they pretty much just keep the perimeter fences down and some other spots.
Drainage right there.
Yeah, down here we put the goats in because the cows would be too destructive, but the goats kind of eat around things. And
The cows. Do you have cows also?
So we do. We have, about 25?
Oh,
Right,
wow.
yeah, about 25.
Yeah.
And are those for beef? Or?
Yes.
Yeah,
Originally, we started with 6 dairy heifers, and then we had to pivot from the dairy, so then we transitioned to beef.
Smart.
So a lot of the mamas are still dairy breeds. A
Yeah.
few Jerseys and Shorthorns in there, right?
Yeah.
But we've moved more towards Murray Grey and British White, which are more beef
Interesting.
breeds. But
Cool.
so I go well.
You can eat that up,
Yeah. Yep, so right now these are just brush clearers. Oh, and you asked, we do sell the babies in the spring, and it pays for basically the upkeep of the goats.
Oh, good.
So the goats are kind of a wash, more or less. They make
Except
a
for
little money.
fertility, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. And just you wouldn't want to be hand clearing some of
Right.
the sites where we have perimeter fence, and the goats are
Right.
professionals. Yeah.
And they do provide, the babies provide winter entertainment.
Oh my
Of
God.
course, they
Yeah,
are
that's
adorable.
how you get through the winter.
They
Yeah,
are
which is
so
why we kid in
sweet.
January. One of the reasons.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It's
how
when
many
you need it.
acres do you have?
We have 80. It's half woods and half open, and then we
Uh-huh.
graze another forward.
It's like 35.
Yeah.
Like that you rent someone
Yeah,
else's?
across the street
Uh-huh.
and down that way, and you know,
Cool.
kind of everything open you see around here we graze. So yep, we graze a lot of what actually used to be this original farm.
Yeah.
It got parceled up, and we bought a chunk of it, but we still kind of graze what was the original pasture.
So what brought you here to Southeast Ohio?
Well, We were managing a farmstead creamery on Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts.
Right.
So on an island that is not somewhere we were going to be able to buy land.
I was
to do our
thinking
own
that was
thing, yeah.
probably relevant.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a 100-acre farm on Martha's Vineyard. So it was either going to be running, continuing to manage other people's thing or do our own thing.
Right.
And so we were just looking for something. What were our qualities? We wanted, 3-season grazing at least.
Mm-hmm.
Good grass growth.
Yeah.
So
you
rainfall.
Yeah.
We knew we probably couldn't afford anywhere flat because that's good corn ground.
Right.
Did you have a similar experience, right?
Well,
Looking for land
yeah,
or
I was
yeah.
figuring that it was
Mhm.
probably cheap was a
Yep.
good part of it, and
Yep.
maybe the social aspects of Athens is nice. It was a draw for us.
So that was the other half, exactly. So we actually looked, you at a map and kind of looked at okay, you have the rural character, which is great too. We love our neighbors.
Right,
It's
right.
a really nice community right here.
Yep.
But then you also have access to Athens, which
Right.
is where you get, your university and your,
And the larger
all the fun things our kids do.
metropolitan areas that are within 100 miles or so.
We,
Good
yeah,
potential market.
That's a good point. So,
because we thought we were doing perishables, so
Right.
it mattered.
Oh,
How
good
close.
point.
We thought we were doing cheese, which is perishable, and so it matters that it takes. How are you on a corridor? Can you get to places? And so, in my mind, it was, you can get to DC and you can
wow.
get to Columbus.
all right. Yeah.
And so, those were kind of the target markets originally when I had.
That makes a lot of sense. So,
Bigger
since we're
plans.
talking about the business side, I asked you a little bit before we got on camera, but I'll just ask you things again. Sorry. So, the farm is self-supporting, it sounds like, and does it also pay the bills for you guys?
It's getting there. We do a lot of side work because of all the pivots. It's a lot of figuring out what works, what doesn't, kind of filling out the season so all the work doesn't land on the same 2 months,
Yeah, that's smart.
So the chocolate as a concept was, okay, you've got your growing season and then your chocolate holidays are in the winter.
Right.
So it's kind of the winter work.
That's smart.
And it's a little more indoor, it's easier on your body.
Right.
It's not perishable like cheese, so you
Yeah.
can hold on, you can make it ahead. And so it's getting to it. I mean, the pandemic was definitely a big another
Yeah.
wrench in
Right.
the, growth plan.
So, do you also sell vegetables and things, or is it?
We do some.
Yeah,
So we do the contract seed crops, meaning
Oh, I didn't
we
know that.
grow. Yeah, so this behind us over there, we can walk down there later.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, so we grow. Right now it's about an acre, but we're going to expand up to probably 2 acres of growing. Basically, you grow vegetables as though you were a market garden,
Right.
and then instead of selling vegetables, you process their seed.
And who do you grow for? Or do you grow for
Yep.
yourself?
No, we grow for I think 6 companies this
Oh,
year.
wow.
So Fedco, Baker's Creek, Southern Exposure, So True. Do you have So True?
I don't know. So
Oh, it's
true.
a good one.
Oh, SOW.
True. Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's a really good one because they're regionally adapted
Oh.
for North Carolina and the Mid-Atlantic, but I
Yeah.
feel like our climate is actually closer
Yeah.
to Mid-Atlantic than Midwest,
very
which we're
cool.
categorized. What have you found? In terms of gardening advice you found, do you feel like we're Midwest? Because I feel
I
like,
would not call us Midwest. No, I would definitely call us Appalachian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So similarly, these 2 of the companies I'm growing for are kind of in Appalachian, kind of hill, hot, humid summers,
Right.
and so their seeds are specifically adapted to that, and I found that works better for us than Baker Creek, which is in Missouri, and it's
Oh,
fine,
okay.
but it's they get seeds from all over,
Right,
and
right.
a lot of them are adapted to
Right.
Washington or
Yeah.
drier climates. So so the seed crops are a big thing we do, and then we do sell some vegetables as you grow a bunch of tomatoes, and some of them look good. Some of them you're smashing up for seed, and some of them you're like, these are too good to smash. And so you sell them
Gotcha.
to Kindred or something, our local.
Right.
We
Yeah.
sell a fair bit of garlic.
Oh,
That's true.
Awesome.
Yep.
So it sounds like one of your pieces of advice to people who would want to be small farmers would be to diversify, maybe.
And have a vast skill set that you can go to when you need to pivot, because your main thing doesn't work for one reason or another, and you have to still make a living. And so we've done, Michael thought he'd be a dairyman, but luckily he has carpentry skills.
Yeah.
And mechanical, so
So
Yeah.
he can pick up jobs here and there. He also built our house, And so just
It's a nice looking house.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Well done.
inside.
yeah, we started off living in the milk house when we moved here. That was not there. So yeah, so yes, I would say number one is have skills that you can either use to be your income or to get income on a gig basis to fund.
Well,
Very smart.
and additionally, you save yourself money, so you're not hiring people with
Yeah.
those skills.
That
So
makes
that's
a lot of
extremely
sense.
expensive.
That's very true.
You could assume double the cost for anything you do.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. Well, I have more questions, but I thought we might move to a new spot.
It is winter wheat,
Oh, winter wheat.
vetch, Austrian winter pea, tillage turnip, and daikon radish.
Very nice.
Yeah. So it gives us, good fibrous roots to hold soil in place, enough growth in the spring to block out weeds, and then good, big, thick taproot
Yeah.
plants to punch down, break up hard pan, and then also just kind of access the deeper layers of the soil for nutrient and water.